Hello everyone and welcome to Geopolitical Trends, where truth matters. What will become of West Asia now that the US influence is waning? In this video, I am going to provide you my analysis about it and place it for you within the greater geopolitical chess board, if I may use the term here. So, the Middle East, or West Asia that is, a region that is historically marked by its strategic significance and complex geopolitical dynamics, is witnessing now a transformation that will redefine the balance of power, not only locally, but also globally as well. Recent developments, including Iran's retaliation against Israel for the latter's bombing of the former's consulate in Damascus, Syria, in addition to China's diplomatic maneuverings, signal a potential end to what some analysts have called the American century in the Middle East. As a geopolitical analyst who not only wrote extensively on the Middle East, including my book, Volatile State, Iran in the Nuclear Age, but also as one who spent time on the ground, I can unequivocally state to you that Iran's retaliation against Israel marked the change in the status quo, by which Israel no longer has the upper hand in the region, and with it comes the end of the US influence in the greater West Asia. A few years ago, Western analysts argued that China's official communications have always reflected a phrase by its President Xi Jinping, about the great changes unseen in a century. Yet, those analysts have interpreted Xi's statements as propaganda, when it turned out to be more of a reflection of the current geopolitical landscape. As a matter of fact, it turned out to be a vast transformation in global order as we speak. This couldn't be more evident than in West Asia or Middle East, a region where the US devoted many resources, including the militarization of Israel. And with China brokering a deal between the two arch enemies in the region, Iran and Saudi Arabia, it became clear that US's era of influence in the region has come to an end. Then what about the change in dynamics? Well, Iran's bold moves and Israel's security, the bombing of Iran's consulate in Damascus by Israel, marks a significant escalation in regional tensions and a clear departure from the status quo, where Israel maintained the upper hand. This act of aggression by Israel not only challenges Israel's possession, but also underscores a broader shift in regional power dynamics. Yet, it was Iran's response, perceived as a strategic victory, suggesting a diminishing sphere of influence for the United States, as regional players assert more autonomy and new power brokers emerge. The Israeli-Gaza conflict, a catalyst for change. The latest escalation in the Israeli-Gaza conflict highlights a deteriorating situation that transcends local borders, affecting global perception and foreign policies. The conflict has resulted in a severe humanitarian crisis and economic downturns, raising critical questions about the sustainability of such confrontation. The impact, of course, are multifaceted, influencing international aid, diplomatic relations, and the global discourse on human rights and conflict resolutions. The waning of American influence parallel to the turmoil in Gaza is the broader narrative of shifting American influence in the Middle East, or West Asia that is. So, what might be seen as the twilight of the American century in this region is characterized by a gradual but noticeable retreat of US power and influence. This retreat is not just military or economic, but also a significant reduction in the US ability to dictate political outcomes in the Middle East. The consequences of this shift are profound, paving the way for other nations to readjust their strategies and alliances. The critic by a veteran US diplomat, Chas Freeman, encapsulates the perceived shortcomings of the US strategy in the region. According to Freeman, he said, and I quote, "The US has often resorted to military might and economic sanctions rather than leveraging the art of persuasion. This approach, while sometimes effective, has not always yielded sustainable peace or fostered genuine goodwill towards the US. The current landscape, where the United States appears to be losing its grip on a diplomatic leadership in the Middle East, is a direct consequence of these long-term strategies, choices." End of quote. Then China steps in. Amidst these changes, China has emerged as a formidable player, taking on roles that the US once dominated. The peace deal brokered by China between Iran and Saudi Arabia is a prime example of Beijing's growing diplomatic assertiveness and effectiveness. This initiative not only showcases China's capacity to lead in high-stake diplomacy, but also reflects its long-term strategic vision to embed itself within the crucial geopolitical fabric of West Asia. This move by China is part of a larger pattern where it capitalizes on the vacuum left by the US due to its own failed policies, promoting its own model of cooperation and partnership. The implications for global order, the potential decline of US influence in the Middle East or West Asia comes at a time when the global order is increasingly multipolar. With China and other regional powers like Russia, Iran looking to expand their influence, the US faces the challenge of redefining its role not just in the Middle East, but on the global stage. This shift towards a more balanced global power distribution could lead to new alliances and rivalries. As a result, reshaping not only international politics, but also economic and security frameworks. Here is my conclusion for you. The unfolding events in the Middle East or West Asia, highlighted by Iran's bold action against Israel and China's diplomatic initiatives, signal a possible end to the era of unchallenged US dominance in the region. As we witness these great changes unseen in a century, the global community must prepare for a new era of international relations where old alliances are tested and new ones are formed. The US will need to recalibrate its foreign policy, focusing more on diplomacy and persuasion rather than coercion and force to maintain relevance in a rapidly changing world order. This evolving narrative will undoubtedly be a defining feature of international relations in the coming years, with the profound implications for global peace and stability. As always, remember, geopolitics impacts your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time, thank you.